The Untamed Life is a perfect example of why I started the Fire of Fandom for Tolkien. If you read the description on her channel page, she says that she is just a gamer girl living in a crazy world. I think that description radically understates what she has to offer. Every weekend for the last several months, she puts out content specifically on the works of Tolkien in a show called The Literary Soul Sisters. I've had the pleasure of interacting with her directly by having her come into my studio, by us talking about her show, what she's doing, as well as watching her discuss Tolkien, the scholarship, the lore. The Untamed Life is another one of those female content creators here on YouTube within this fandom that destroy the narrative around Tolkien fandom and toxic fandom. This video series was never meant to just be a reaction. It was meant to discuss what it really means to love Tolkien. The Untamed Life already has a voice. I just wanted to amplify it.
I would have to say I first heard of Tolkien sometime after my sophomore or junior year of high school. I had heard of C.S. Lewis first and had read through the Chronicles of Narnia. But in deeper research about C.S. Lewis and his life, I, of course, realized who was the author of The Lord of the Rings, because previously I didn't know that it was J.R.R. Tolkien. Like, for some reason, it just didn't click in my brain. So I guess I saw the movies when I was much younger, but I had no understanding of who Tolkien was or anything other than this is just a very cool fantasy movie. And it wasn't until much later that I realized these are based off books. I can read these books, and that's where I would want to say my love of Tolkien really started after my sophomore year of high school. I love the fact that he is unapologetically okay with dealing with both the good and darker sides of humanity. I love the epic tale of good versus evil, but also at the same time, we are human or elf or dwarf or whoever, we have faults. And he is not ashamed of going deep into the faults of his characters, where I'm trying to think of the best word to describe. He's okay with the good, the bad, and the ugly of all of his characters, and he's okay writing about that. And I think that's what drew me more to him as I got older. He's a much more mature author than a lot of what I had read previously. And so just in my evolution of reading more mature authors and writers and books and series, he was definitely one of those that kind of grew with me. And just as I've gotten older, just my love has gotten deeper for his style of writing. Ooh. I'm sure the generic answer is probably one of the hobbits. I have to say, the character I loved the most in the beginning was Boromir. I loved how he was so flawed, but he loved everything. Was birthed from his love of his country, fighting the good fight for so long, and then he just made one mistake. I think that just shows us as the audience, we're Boromir. We're the ones who, sometimes we fight the good fight, we keep fighting, and then we mess up and we feel like we have just let everyone down, but we still have an opportunity to have that redemption arc. So to me, Boromir is actually, in my opinion, one of the most important characters in Tolkien's trilogy of Lord of the Rings. Even though he was not in the final bit, like the final battles, I still think he is a pivotal character. I am definitely more of a book lover than I am of the big cinema. Just between books and movies, I would have to say the my actual first cinematic view of Tolkien's world was the cartoons, the old style cartoons where I was terrified of Gandalf. I remember looking at his long nose and his introduction and just the lightning, and I've always been fond of it. But I would have to say overall I am more of a book person because I like the depth that you can dive into any character in a book. You can go into their mindset. You can see why someone does something. Whereas on the big cinema, you just can't. Like, they can kind of portray that, but it's just not as deep and not as, in my opinion, well done as it is in the books. You just have so much more rich interaction with the characters as far as the book format goes. My knee-jerk reaction is to to hurt somebody because I just feel like they have just done such a disservice to Tolkien's name. Your general person walking down the street doesn't understand the impact that Tolkien has had on their everyday life. That's just how deep his impact on us as a society is. Like, he helped write the Oxford Dictionary. Like, what people still use that today to look up definitions of the English language. And it breaks my heart, and it makes me sick to my stomach that, like, modern day or modernity, which this has been the problem in all of humanity, and I am currently rereading some of my Greek books, and it's just the same cycle of the new people think that they're better than the old people because they don't have any idea the impact, who that person was. They say all of these nice very big words, like they try to make themselves sound intelligent, when if you actually take just a little bit of a deeper dive into what that person's saying, they're saying nothing but a bunch of hot air. They're just blowing a bunch of hot air, trying to sound intelligent, just doing circular reasoning, circular arguments. Once you recognize that, you just can't unsee it. You can tell that they think they're better than Tolkien, and it just makes me sick to the pride and arrogance somebody has to have, or just the ignorance. They keep saying that they know Tolkien's legendarium, they know who Tolkien is, but by their actions and what they're doing and how they talk about Tolkien's work, I doubt that they've read more than just the trilogy. They've maybe read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, but they don't know who Tolkien is. They don't know the impact he's played on any of the Western world, and even in other parts of the world, the impact that his stories and him as a person has had on modernity, on the 20th and 21st century. He is the bedrock to a lot of our foundational understandings of literature and poetry and so many of the arts. And just modern day people have no idea, and it's so sad. And these people are perpetuating the ignorance that is out there.
As ever, this is Salty Texas Sea. I am Corey DB. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you've seen and heard, please hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you on board. That way you know, and we have things like live streams, which we are going to be doing every Tuesday evening. Take care. I hope you're having a great 2022.